All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kirsten. I'm one of the product managers here at Decisions. Today, I'm going to walk through our recent releases, upcoming features, and long-term roadmap items. Give me 2 seconds here. There we go. All right. Just a quick introduction to the Decisions product managers. We have Eric, who leads Engines, which is our upcoming deployment server initiative. And then he also manages the backend pieces of all of the designers. We have Josh, who leads the integrations team, which is all of our AI initiatives and modules. We also have Rohit, who handles the UI needs for the flow and rule designers. And me, Kirsten, I focus on the UI for the form, page, and report designers. Before we really get started, I just want to share how you can reach us. If you have questions after the webinar or want to give feedback or have questions about the features that I'm talking about, feel free to email us at productmanagement@decisions.com. And if you have questions during the webinar, please feel free to ask them in the chat and we'll get those answered for you. We have Josh joining us right now and Eric temporarily joining us, and they'll be free to answer your questions in the chat. All right, we have our product team mission. It's to give you a platform that combines human intelligence with a full suite of automation techniques, excuse me. This means giving you ways to build logic, UI, and integrations without needing to write a ton of code. Everything we're doing is about making development more accessible and efficient. Looking at our recent history, at 2024, a lot of our work revolved around two areas: improving our core designers and creating a new project infrastructure. If you've upgraded to version 9, you have seen this new project system. And for 2025, our focus is deployment server, moving to Kubernetes for more scalable and efficient environments. All right. So our recent releases, if you haven't seen the last few releases, here are some of our key highlights. We've got health scores in all designers now. The purpose of this is to catch potential issues, and it guides developers to maintain best practices as you're developing. We've also got drag to resize form and page controls that makes layout adjustments faster. We've updated our default designer report to include health scores, validation counts, to-dos, and tags. In 9.9, we've added PATS, which is proactive technical support. It's designed to enhance support by identifying potential issues and providing resolutions proactively in the form of to-dos. We also have the default page view for default project folder now has an updated UI with tiles for every element type. And you'll also see 9.10 is coming out hopefully within the next couple days. And with 9.10, we have a lot of good enhancements, displaying a lock icon on locked entities. So if you're looking at a report, the little entity icon that tells you it's a flow, rule, form, or whatever will have a little lock icon on it. You'll also see updates like being able to show pop-ups even if the top bar is hidden. So if you have Chrome equals off or other URL parameters that hides that top bar, notifications will be able to work for those. These are just a select few. Please go to the documentation site to review a full list of features. But I'm going to dive into a couple of these just a little bit more. This is health and designers. It allows for visibility, like I said, into the health of the element that you are currently working on. With this enhancement, we've moved validations and warnings to the header panel. Health scores update in real time. So as health conditions are met and validations are cleared, the health score will update. So in this video, as the health of the form gets better, it updates in real time. Next, this is a quick screenshot of the default project folder. This is initially created on project creation. So when you create a project, you're given a folder to name. This is that view. This page now shows tiles with the count of every element type within the project and filters the report on tile selection. So right now, the screenshot is on all entities. If I click the flow tile, it'll change and just show me the 2 flows that are in this project. This also shows the updates to the default report, showing that health scores, to-dos, validation counts, and tags are in this report. And you can see the new clear sort action, which is going to be a 910, I believe. I just showed that. It'll be a 910, which will clear all applied sorts to any report. Drag to resize. With this video, there's a little sneak peek here of attached labels. I'll talk about that one later. But essentially, the drag to resize feature is straightforward. You can just drag to resize form and page controls, which makes designing forms and pages a little quicker. All right. So here's a few of the big themes and features that we're focusing on over the next 3 years. This slide focuses on 2025. On the deployment side, we're working on a new deployment server to better manage how and where projects are deployed and all of the little intricacies of deployment. We also have better auditing and health tracking, so you can track performance and see issues across the board. Improved AI integration and automation. We're also refreshing the flow designer to improve usability and consistency, and working on a unified UI designer, which I'll also talk about a little bit later. But the purpose here is bringing the form and page designers into one unified designer. For 2026, we're starting to see a little bit more intelligence and automation baked into the platform with automatic updates, AI design assistant, automated scaling and testing. And there's a bunch more, but I'm not going to run through each one. The big takeaway is that 2026 is about making the platform smarter and more proactive. Looking to 2027, we're aiming to simplify, guide, and customize more of the platform experience, like a simplified rule set designer to make it easier to build logic without all of the complexity, automatic rule recommendations, which will flag optimizations for you in real time. General theme here, less development, more configurable designs. All right. So everything that we just looked at and everything that we are about to look at really falls into 3 major themes: health and integrations, developer velocity, and deployment. Health and integrations, more visibility, more insights, and smarter tools. Developer velocity, making it easier and faster to build. Deployment, better ways to package, test, and deploy across all environments. All right, this one's a lot to digest, this slide. So over the next few slides, you're going to see a few of slides very similar to this. There's a lot of features here. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to mention every single one of these. I'll hit on a couple, but if there's really any that stick out to you that I don't mention, please drop it in the chat. Josh or Eric can expand on it, or again, email us at productmanagement@decisions.com that you'd like to learn more about a specific feature. The main one that I'm going to call out here, I just mentioned also, is the unified UI designers. This plan is to combine our form and page designer into one designer to make it easier and more intuitive and consistent while designing UI elements. I'm also trying to pull in like the report designer into that also. You mostly use reports on pages, so trying to combine all of our UI designers. Another cool one here that's related to deployment server is the production data enrichment. This is to help visualize real world data while developing. So being able to see that production data, how many times the flow is run, what avenues it has taken directly within the flow designer during development. All right, our AI roadmap. We're rolling out a lot more AI tools in 2025 and 2026. Items like formula generation and unit test creation. Our Dart chatbot. This is our in-app AI chat called Dart. We're looking to source that from more locations, making it a more robust AI chat. And if you want to learn more about any of these, please reach out to, like I said, productmanagement@decisions.com, where Josh knows a lot about these also. All right, our solutions roadmap. Our solutions team is working on a bunch of projects that will be available within the App Store. These are items like the inventory management. We have Cortex here, which will give users the ability to train and create a chatbot, and also a project management application to help with task tracking and all your project management needs. All right. For the UI team, we're planning a bunch of new features and enhancements to help design in the form and page and report designers. So there's a lot here. There's a lot on our roadmap. I'll try and talk about every single one of them. The first few, flex layout, attach labels, freeze report columns, and custom report icon actions, I'm going to hold off and talk about those after I get through the rest of these. Theme manager in our major category up here is actually an accelerator. So the solutions team is building this, but it's very, it's for the UI designers. It's for forms, pages, and rules. So this is an accelerator that's going to help generate CSS themes for projects. This will be more robust than the current CSS generator, including more controls that are able to be targeted, and an overall more efficient way to manage branding within projects. The WYSIWYG page designer, what you see is what you get. We're essentially updating the page designer to show you real data during design time, preventing the need to attach a page to a folder and do the whole back and forth between folder and designer to see design changes. And then again, the unified UI builder, as I've mentioned a few times already, it's just an effort to combine our form and page designers into one cohesive designer. So UI designing, saying that a lot, has consistent behavior between all. Then we have efforts to decrease design time. So we've got flex layout, attach labels, multi-select control behavior enhancements. So multi-select controls to resize, multi-select controls to drag and drop, copy paste, or apply common property configuration like CSS class names, label properties, stuff like that. Overall form control toolbox enhancement, right there in Q4 for decreased design time. Just an overall facelift, really. Adding control help, which is very similar to the flow step help, but for controls. And then adding a recently deleted section that will retain configuration of recently deleted or accidentally deleted items. And then form and page controls, condensing form and page controls. We have this feature in simple forms right now, but we're looking to implement the same in forms and pages, and eventually this UI builder. For example, charts right now, you have the individual page controls for each chart type. This enhancement will combine all charts into one page control. You can configure it once, and if you decide later to change your bar chart to a pie chart, you don't have to reconfigure the whole control. So that's that one. Features that we're planning that will increase overall usability. Drag to reorder report rows at runtime. Default tile styles. This is going to be better out of the box styling for simple tiles. Active form flow dependency view. Overall, this is the ability to visually see what controls are impacted by a selected active form flow. Controls would be highlighted on the form with icons or some indicator showing how the active form flow is impacting that specific control. Active form flow data binding. This is just better data management for active form flows and making active form flows have access to data easier. Right now, I know it can be a little difficult with a handful of controls. And then dynamic behavior for page controls. This has been asked for quite a bit. This is essentially active form flows for pages, allowing page controls to be manipulated similarly to how active form flows manipulate form controls. Features that are going to further customizing UI elements, report column display as, this guy right here. This is more so changing Boolean values to have display options like a toggle checkbox, yes, no. Right now, it's just true, false. and then to be able to inline edit those visuals. So if it's a toggle, you just click the toggle to inline edit and change the value. Sub-dialog outlet container. This is a new way that sub-dialogs can display. They'll be on the form instead of over it. So if you pair this with flex layout, that I'll show you in a second, um, the sub-dialog outlet container can act as a slide out panel, so to speak. So it'll show the sub-dialog information, but you'll still have access to the parent form. And then expanding chart options. This is to include more chart types and configurations than what we currently have. We have a lot of the basics like your bar chart and your pie chart and all of that stuff. This is to expand the options and allow more customization and different chart types. All right. And then let's see, theme customization within designers. This is taking that theme manager idea that Solutions is building and having a way to change that and edit that within the designer directly. So if you have a theme or CSS applied, you can make that change directly within the designer. So you don't have to do a lot of the back and forth that you currently do with CSS right now. So with all of that said, I'm going to now show a couple videos of flex layout, attached labels, go into freeze report columns, and then the custom report icon actions. So this is a flex container layout. First, let's see. This allows elements to automatically adjust on screen size or layout changes. So this gives you way more responsive control. And in the video, as you see, form gets bigger and controls move around. Things are hidden, controls move around. As you type, controls grow based on content size. So this will empower users to create responsive and adaptive layouts. This was intended to come out in 9.11, but it's being pushed to 9.12. So it'll be ready 9.12. Get excited about it. It's a really exciting feature. I'm happy. Let's see. And then we have attached label for input controls. To aid in Flexbox and general form design, labels will now be attached to input controls by default. So you can customize their alignment, font properties, and spacing directly from the label properties that will be available. But when you go to move a control that has a label, now you only have to move one thing as opposed to move the text box and the label and readjust everything. So the label and the input control will now be one thing. And if you decide you don't want that, there is the show label under label properties where you could just get rid of it and go back to not having an attached label. This one will be ready for 9/11. And then freeze, report, and advanced data grid columns. We're introducing frozen columns for reports and advanced data grid, so you'll be able to lock specific columns on the left or right so they stay visible as you scroll horizontally. So this is helpful when working with wide data sets where you want to have a lot of columns available, but you also want to keep certain columns in view. We're targeting this sometime within Q2. We don't have an exact release yet, but it's coming up soon. And then finally, we're adding actionable custom, keyword custom. Wait, hold on, back up. We're adding icons that are custom actions on advanced data grids and reports. Sorry about that. This will show custom actions as icons within one column. Each icon can launch a flow or push data to and from the form if it's used within an advanced data grid. Oh, sorry, I didn't start the video. It's pretty neat. It'll have access to the parent form, like I said, and it's custom action. It's not going to be like your out of the box entity actions, but you can create custom actions and just pick whatever icon you want to show. Phase 1 of this is just this. Phase 2 is the ability to change the icon dynamically. So for instance, if you have a favorite action, initially, if it's unfavorited, it would be like an outlined star, but if you click it, it changes to a filled in star. So that dynamic capability will be phase 2, but that's also coming in quarter 2. All right, I'm going to pause right here Oop, I think I'm gonna pause right here. Now my screen's loading. I am gonna pause right here. I'm forced to pause. Um, this wraps up the webinar essentially. So if you have a question, now's the time to send it. And my computer is frozen, so that's fun. Um, but that's the end of the webinar anyways, so I'm glad my computer decided to freeze right now. Um, our next webinar will be May 20th, and Eric is going to be the host. If you have feedback, suggestions, or questions, please reach out to us at productmanagement@decisions.com. And I think, oh, there we go. Is drag to resize on normal and simple forms. It should be on everything. It'll be on normal forms, simple forms, and pages. Cool. Yes. William Clemens says there's a survey at the end of the webinar if everybody would like to fill that out. Perfect. All right. If there is no more questions, I ran through that really quick. But if there's no more questions, we can end this early. Everybody have a great afternoon, and we will see you next time.